Look, I know I'm saying Crovian throughout this whole entire video. I know it's Corvian. I know the meaning. Corvine, looked it up, means crow. I'm already there. But it works either way. In fact, when I say Crovian, it's a play on words, it's a pun, and it works. Just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. Hello, fellow Crovians. This is my critique on the Crowsworn Demo. I hope that you enjoy. After playing the Crowsworn Demo for a long time, I feel it's time to give my critique. Overall, the Crowsworn experience is amazing. I loved what I played. There is so much good here, from the sound design to the parry system to the animations. All of it is amazing. However, before I get into the praises, I'd like to give my criticisms first. Now, these are just my opinions and views, and you might not agree with me, but I do believe that these things could have been done or handled better, and I also believe that Mongoose Rodeo will either agree with me or at least understand where I'm coming from. Criticism 1. Non-destructible skeletons. I love how many destructible things there are in this game. From breaking barrels to breaking vases. It's all a good time. With that said, there are, for some reason, some skeletons that you cannot destroy. They are only part of the background. Like, why can I break this skeleton, but not this one? You ever seen the video of the guy yelling at the messed up patterns in his pool? These skeletons make me feel that very same way. I believe that every skeleton should be treated equally. I stand for skeleton destruction equality. Criticism 2. The light being emitted from the protagonist. When I first got into the spooky dark level, I was excited. I thought I'd have to use the enemy light orbs in order to light my way through this level. I thought I was gonna have to keep hitting those orbs in front of me in order to see what's in front. But no, the protagonist's glow is quite bright, actually. I feel this is a giant missed opportunity to make the player feel scared and have a feeling of unknown due to the darkness around them. By making such a huge illumination around the protagonist, there's not any claustrophobia. There's no dread, no fear, because you can see everything. It takes the mystery away. If the protagonist had but a dim glow around him, with only little lights to light his way through the level, I feel the suspense of the level would have been more realized. What I was expecting from this part of the map is an experience more like the Tomb of the Giants from Dark Souls. Perhaps maybe you could buy a lantern later in the game that gives you more illumination, sure, but I don't think it should be as big and bright as it was in the demo. Criticism 3. The golden-haired statue riddle. The golden-haired statue is a puzzle, a riddle, that you have to solve in order to get a certain item for the game. When you investigate the statue, it says, with veil of splendor, blessed are the sightless and patient. In order to do this puzzle, you need to find the skull and the golden vial, bring it to the blacksmith and have him make you the body augmentation Face of Splendor. Alright, this all makes sense because when you get that item, the skull's head is covered with gold, just like the statue. Alright, I'm with you. So let's look at how to do this riddle correctly first. What you do is put on the Face of Splendor, go to the statue, look down for 5 seconds, and then receive the item. This is not the way I would have thought to do the puzzle, and the reason for this is because of this item right here. This is an item that you could buy from Bernard if you had the right amount of Animus. Unfortunately, the item is locked behind a Animus upgrade, and in order to get the Animus upgrade, you need to do the statue riddle. The reason this is so confusing to me is because of the description of this item right here. By Mongoose putting the word sightless in this description, I would have thought that I would need not only the Face of Splendor, but also the Maws of Gluttony. I would think that I would have to equip both of these and then stand next to the statue for a certain amount of time. That would make the most sense to me. By putting the word sightless in your description, you have created a very bad red herring. Basically, I would be more careful with the item descriptions if you're gonna do something like this again. Criticism number 4, the blacksmith. This criticism and solution comes from Carryon 2. I loved it so much, I had to add it. Carryon brought up that the blacksmith is unfairly hidden, and I completely agree. Look at this. Why is the blacksmith of all characters so well hidden in the demo? That is a main character that is going to be important to upgrading your stuff, yet he's in one of the oddest places that you could put him. What's interesting here is that the doorway to his room is just a doorway, so there should be some kind of sound echoing from his chamber, but there's not. So, Mongoose, if you're gonna do something like this again, make sure to add some type of cue to the players so that they know that something important is there. Criticism number 5, levers. I don't know if this is intentional, maybe it is, but I just wanted to bring up my experience either way. The first time I played the game, I remember coming up to this lever and hitting it. It made a sound and it did something, but when I looked around, I couldn't find anything different, and that's because I didn't go to the door first before I smacked the lever. I saw the lever first, and so I smacked it first. I don't know if that's part of the design where you want people to explore the map and find out what the lever did in the game, but I can tell you where I think you did it absolutely right, and that's the giant wind gust area. When I smack that lever on top of the map, I can see the wind gust go up to the top, which lets me know that it has unlocked underneath. There is a visual indication that the lever did something, but on the first lever of the game, there is no context to what it did unless you looked at the gate first before hitting the lever. Criticism number 6, the new boss. I really like the new boss. It's really good, but there is some really bad RNG with it right now. But before we talk about the RNG, let's take a look at the boss's moveset. There's the Beyblade phase, the Bouncy Boy, Tantrum 1, Tantrum 2, and Bug Pinball. I'm sure you can see where the RNG problem lies. Yup, the pinball bugs. Take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4 bounces. That's ridiculous. the bugs need their momentum taken away. The bugs should only bounce at a maximum of 3 times with a fast slowdown speed. Take away one of the bounces and I believe you'll significantly change the feeling of the RNG to this boss. That's not the only problem this boss has though. The wind up to the Beyblade move is non-existent. Now let's take a look at the Bouncy Boy move after the Beyblade move. Did you see that? Did you see how it just spun there for a second? That was the signal that it was about to become a Bouncy Boy. The Beyblade move needs a signal just like the Bouncy Boy. And last but not least, the length of the song. Not many people are gonna hear the end of this song, and that's because of the next criticism. Criticism 7, balance. I've beaten the game with no upgrades and no body augmentations before the patch, and it's brutal. The boss reminds me of when I decided to fight a failed champion without any nail upgrades. A great challenge, but completely over the top brutal. The reason the boss was so brutal is because of artificial difficulty. You see, you couldn't use the Carryon Slam before the patch because there was no iframes for it. If you tried to use it on the boss, you'd get hurt. Okay. Mongoose Rodeo has since fixed this problem. However, there are other problems to be had. Now, with no upgrades and no body augmentations, it takes about 60 or so hits to kill the boss. But with all of the upgrades and body augmentations, it only takes 35 hits. Honestly, I think this is kind of broken. An upgrade should not be making you that strong. A player should only be able to trim off so much of the enemy's health. That's my opinion at least. Not only that, but you can't even kill the bugs with one hit, even with the upgrade. It's not until you equip the body augmentation, Carnage Incarnate, take your health all the way down to 1 until you're able to kill the bug in one hit. Either that or using Silent Descent, in which you need to wait for it to hit its maximum, which is 3, to then one-shot the bug. I don't know how you guys are scaling things in your game, but the bugs are definitely one of my problems. Criticism 8. I don't get it. If there's any 2 parts that needed more context in this game, it's the health shards and the ritual. Though the animations are really cool and metal as fuck, I just don't get it. Let's start off with the health shards. Okay, so from what I'm gathering, you collect and combine broken chunks of this red gem, only to crush them? I feel like I'm missing something here. The pieces are already broken, so why are you putting them together just to break them again? Also, shouldn't the added red gemstone show up before the animation, not after? It's kind of weird getting it after watching the protagonist destroy it. Also, here's a fun little fact. If you buy the health shard as the 4th and final piece from Bernard, you don't get the animation at all. Weird, right? I feel like I just needed more context on this. I'm extremely curious as to even what the gemstone even is and how it becomes extra health for the character at all. You did well with the description of the Carryon Flask and the Animus, and you can look that up and look at the definitions of those words. But this mysterious red gem is just called Health Shard. The description is also very vague. Since this is the case, how does the protagonist even know that crushing the gemstone is the right thing to do? If the description is vague and mysterious, I'd believe that the item itself is also unknown to the character, so this all breaks the believability of the game. Now, onto the ritual animation. So, the animation is cool and all, but I don't get it. If I'm looking at the setting here, I'd think that the statue is definitely demanding a ritual of sorts, most likely blood. But just like the golden-haired statue, the answer to this riddle wouldn't have been my first guess. Like, why? Is this gonna be explained? I sure hope so, because right now, it just seems to be edgy just to be edgy. I could see how spilling his blood in the bowl could be part of the ritual, but I don't understand him needing to pierce his hands on the nails and then break the fingers off in order to get the power. I need more context. I need more context as to why it's done like this and how he knew that he was even supposed to do it that way in the first place. I don't feel like the animation gave me that context. And because of that, these two parts in the game just don't feel that believable to me. Cool animation though. Criticism 9. The Carryon Flask. As I brought up before, I really like how the Carryon Flask is yet another nod to something crow related. With that said, the Carryon Flask is somewhat confusing. I understand what Carryon means, and I looked up ichor as well. It's pretty gross stuff, actually. So why is it confusing? Every time you hit an enemy, you gain a little bit of ichor. Hit enough enemies, and you got yourself a nice refreshing drink that heals you. The problem I have with the Carryon Flask, though, is that not all hits give you ichor. If you hit an enemy with a rock, no ichor for you. If you use your Carryon Slam, no ichor for you. I am completely baffled as to why these attacks don't fill the flask. The rock I could maybe understand as you're not close enough to the enemy when you damage them. But I don't see any excuse at all for the Carryon Slam. You are in direct contact with the enemy when using the Carryon Slam. It just seems inconsistent, so I wanted to bring this up. Criticism 10. The malice display. I didn't know how much of an issue this actually was until I did the no hit, no upgrades, no body augmentations boss challenge. Mongoose? What is this? Look at that! That's some bullshit! That isn't noticeable at all! In the heat of battle, there is no way you're gonna be able to see that little sliver missing. A super easy way to fix this though is to turn the malice red when you get enough of it. Once you fill the meter enough, it should turn red. Easy peasy. Not only that, but add some notches to the malice meter so that players can know how many shots they got in the tank before they don't have anymore. This would be immensely helpful. Criticism 11. Lightning round. UI is clunky, body augmentations make no sense, stalactites are awkward, and enemies aren't alerted to sounds nor debris. The UI is a little clunky. Pretty much, I would recommend just copying what Hollow Knight did. No need to reinvent the wheel here. The body augmentation, though cool, doesn't make sense. So I guess the body we see on the menu is us? But I'm just wondering, how? How are we attaching the body parts through clothes? And when we don't have them on, where are those body parts? Are we osmosising the body parts through our clothing? Do we have a Mary Poppins bag that is infinitely bottomless? These body parts don't seem to be weighing us down unless we equip them. So, where are they? I need context. I need context. While the stalactites in Hollow Knight felt like a dangerous surprise, The stalactites in Crowsworn are just awkward. I believe there's 2 reasons for this. 1, they're placed in bad places. You don't have any enemies near them, so there's no gotcha moment from the game. 2, you only have 1 at each point. There wasn't ever a moment like this. And lastly, the enemies. This isn't really an issue, it was just something that broke my immersion in the game. The enemies don't respond to both close proximity sound nor debris. I was a little surprised by this with how advanced the AI was in the game. I'm sure a lot of you thought I was going to bring up fast travel as one of my criticisms, but no. You see, fast travel already exists in this demo. Observe. First I was here. And now, I'm there. See? Fast travel. But seriously, Mongoose Rodeo did put out a Kickstarter update on the 21st of August, acknowledging all of our voices. They not only thanked us for our feedback, but told us they were happy that we were treating this demo like any normal game. Here's the full update if you want to read it. In it, they did bring up things like the Blacksmith. So, very cool. Thanks, Mongoose. And I think that sets the perfect mood to start praising Mongoose Rodeo, because they definitely deserve it. Mongoose did so much right in this demo. And by right, I mean they crushed it. But all that praise has to wait until part 2. Until then, thank you for watching.